Shalom. This is your fellow servant Tazawar, back again. I want to start out by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of Great Millstone, and the like men who are out pushing this word and teaching his doctrine in spirit and in truth. And to the Akim and the Akwath who are listening and learning abroad. And to the speckled birds that are scattered among the nations, also listening and learning. Shalom. I recently did a video speaking on why men like myself of Israel, and men in the fold hold the Bible, our book, in such high esteem. And I pretty much gave a couple examples on how it's a living book. And it was more for the skeptics, who haven't really learned how to be spiritual people yet. However, I do want to clarify, it's a good starting point for those who are just diving into the scriptures, or maybe new to finding out that your heritage. All right, now the main reason why we hold the Bible in high esteem is not because ultimately, I'll just say it this way, ultimately is because of faith. All right, now the other points I brought up were absolutely relevant, but faith is really the cornerstone of our beliefs and of our journey, as a body and on an individual level. But again, like I said, I gave a few scriptures to point some people, like if you were looking for something secular or something maybe to possibly pair with world history. You got the examples about Noah and the ark and prophecy. Now, prophecy is a huge thing for us, and the prophecy helps solidify our faith as Israelite men. All right, the prophecies that are contained in the Bible, in the scriptures. But I'm just going to grab a couple scriptures on faith, which is the true cornerstone of why we're so passionate about this thing that we've come to love. Let's go here to Isaiah 1 and 26. And Salakia for the background noise. I'm in travel. I'm en route on the road. Anyway, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 1 and 26 is the point. But I'm gonna start at 25. I posed a question yesterday about, or in a previous video, about which nation of people have lost their heritage and their identity. To point to that, we were scattered and sent to all the four nations, all the four corners of the earth. So, like, not nations, all the four winds of the earth. But this is talking about the nation being redeemed This is out of particular captivity, but it can be applied to today in our Great Awakening, what the brothers have come to call the movement that we have now. My beloved brother Damawathia always brings out this verse 25, Isaiah 1 and 25. And I will turn my hand upon thee and purely purge away thy dross and take away all thy tin. All right, so this is speaking of purifying metals. All right, this verse in particular. Dross and tin are like garbage metals. So when you are purifying something precious like silver or gold, or any metal that you want to get 100% of, for that matter, you run it through the fire and you purify it, taking out the other impurities and other metals, you separate from it. But this is the point, Isaiah 1 and 26. And I will restore thy judges as at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning. Afterward, thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. And we see that this prophecy right here is taking place in real time, in our time. All right, this did happen in the history, when the heathens or the Gentiles were beginning to be pulled back into the fold. But if you fast forward, to our time, this scripture is absolutely valid and can be applied to today. For many of us, like I said, didn't know who we were. We just now coming back into our heritage. But this, in particular, verse 26, helps build our faith. All right, because it says, I will restore thy judges as at the first. And a judge is somebody that presides over weighty matters and small matters. Now, and it says, and thy counselors as at the beginning. So bringing us back into our right minds. So when you pair, understanding Deuteronomy 28 and how the curses fall on us, and that's how you identify who the Israelites are, and we fit those curses. This scripture right here, like I said, really just points to the process of us being purified in this lifetime. From there, I'm going to go to, I also want to make a point that the judges and the counselors are people that give counsel. All right, basically your leaders, which African Americans, our nation, if you will, African Americans, or so-called African Americans, we really don't have any leaders, man. Not in the public eye. But your true leaders are the men that most people scoff at, and we're thought to be crazy. But we're the ones telling you to turn back into your power and remember your heritage. Come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, which governed our nation. All right? And a lot of the fuckery, for lack of a better word, that we see in our nation, in our communities, if we apply those laws, man, it'll cut out a lot of that stuff. But anyway, it says that we will return, that we will be restored as judges and counselors. So And that we have, starting from the elder apostles on down to GMS and the men before them that they learned from, going all the way back to Abba Bivens. Let's jump to Psalms chapter 89. And this is what we are doing now that we are starting to be restored back into our rightful place in the world, in the cosmos. All right, Psalms 89:1. I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. With my mouth will I make known thy faithfulness to all generations. All right. Now, let me get to. For I have said, mercy shall be built up forever. Thy faithfulness shalt thou establish in the very heavens. All right. Now, we are under the heavens. All right. The first heaven, if you will. The skies, the firmament. All right. And the fact that we were given back our identity. That Yahweh placed the spirit into men to, return back into the fold. And he sent out men from old time, and he left us these scriptures so we can go back and read and understand. But only the chosen men, all right, which are called the elect, will understand the scriptures and understand who we are, right? But that in itself, being given that opportunity, because the blessings that are also in Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 15, all right, is speaking of basically rulership, all right, and righteousness over the planet. But to be cast off and then to be given the opportunity after what we've done, whoring and worshiping other powers, other gods, false gods, worshiping flesh, all right, and all of the unsavory practices that we've learned from the heathen and that we've adopted until this very day, and many of the brothers, we were all into that weird shit before we were called back to our heritage. The eating of abominable foods, celebrating holidays, the so-called Hallmark holidays. If you go back and do research, many of these holidays have pagan origins, pagan roots. Valentine's Day, birthdays, Christmas, and the list goes on. But coming out of all of that mess, tattooing and destroying our temple, right? So to be given the opportunity to come back into the fold, to remember ourselves, as the scriptures say, when we will remember ourselves and turn back into the Lord with our whole hearts, which the select few men have done. That's the highest form of mercy, man. To be given another shot at the blessings after what we've done, after we was already lifted up and set up on high under Kings David and Solomon. When our nation was at its pinnacle. And then to fall off in the manner that we did, man, to blatantly disrespect our power, who fought for us, who killed for us, who blessed us, who pulled us out of oppression time and time again. All right. He sent us into oppression. He allowed the other nations to overtake us when we went off, when we stopped keeping the laws, when we got into wickedness. He sent our nations into captivity. All right? And we were repeat offenders, man, over and over again. That's why we went through so many captivities as a nation. But to come out of that and be given the opportunity to return back into your heritage, you know, that's a beautiful thing, man. And that's like I said, the highest form of mercy. Because as men on this side, man, we don't, you know, when the Christians speak of, being like, being Christ-like, and, you know, you got to turn the other cheek, and WWJD and all this other stuff. After what we did, look, very few people would have allowed somebody to cross them like we crossed the Lord and then welcome them back to the table where they could sit down and break bread and drink wine and eat. All right. Now, true enough, you know, we had to take our lashes, and we're in the midst of that now, you know, and it's not over with. But again, even the opportunity to return back into the blessings, if you really understand the magnitude of those blessings, man, that's mercy. You know, if I had another word to to describe the magnitude of mercy that is, you know, I would say it, but you know, this is how we know we can't really fathom how much the Lord loves the nation of Israel, man. You know, but again, that mercy helps solidify our faith, because the men that understand this, when you go through the scriptures, man, and you break down, if you just read it and you are given any modicum of understanding, once you go through the histories and see how we transgressed over and over again until we got to the point we are now, and then we get to come back, wake up, stand up on our feet, you know, as men, speak boldly, like the scriptures say we would do. All these things, like in Ezekiel 37, all right? I mean, the more you go through this book, the more that you can find things that apply to our nation, and even on the individual level, to your life and your daily walk. But that's what you see when you see the men out prophesying and teaching, all right, on the street corners, you know, becoming fools for the sake of Hamashiach, right? Yahweh Shai. It says, I will sing of the mercies of the Lord forever. With my mouth will I make known thy faithfulness to all generations. That includes this generation. All right. And the world now is so far removed from the laws in Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. Like, our people need guidance. We need these men. All right? The teachers. We're going to pick up the second half of this video a little later. So I'm going to close this one out. Giving all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash, Wa Ababa Kwam Yasharala.